Often when we hear or read familiar passages of Scripture, we put a label on them. We hear, "It happened that one of the 12, Thomas, was absent." We think, "Oh yes, doubting Thomas." Then we stop paying attention, because if familiarity doesn't breed contempt, it certainly breeds inattention. Yet, in this gospel passage, attention to an easily overlooked detail is essential if we are to know what the story has to tell us. When we wish to emphasize something, we repeat ourselves. Scripture does so too. Today's repetition is barely noticeable. The passage begins on the evening of that first day of the week. That day, of course, is Sunday. The repetition is in slightly different words, but says the same thing, a week later, the next Sunday. The evangelist begins each part of the passage emphasizing that whatever is going on has to do with the fact that it is Sunday. Well, what's going on? For one thing, the disciples are gathered. On the first Sunday, these followers of Jesus come together, and the Lord appears among them, greets them, blesses them, and empowers them. But Thomas was not there. We don't know why. All we know is that on that particular Sunday, he was not gathered with the rest of the followers of Jesus, and so did not meet the Lord. And so he could not believe. The next Sunday, the disciples were again gathered, and this time Thomas was with them. Again, the Lord appeared before them, greeted them, and invited Thomas to believe. And Thomas did believe. The Sunday gathering of the followers of Jesus is the place where the risen Lord approaches us in a special way, offers us peace, blesses us, and empowers us. He can and does work elsewhere, but this Sunday gathering of his people is a special place for meeting the Lord. Therefore, for 20 centuries, we have gathered each Sunday as his followers. It is so important that for Catholics, it's an essential part of our life as Christians. We have an obligation to be with the community on Sunday. Does it always work? Does my being gathered with the followers of Jesus on a Sunday guarantee that I will encounter the risen Lord, that he will say to me, "Peace be with you"? That certainly has not been the case in all my years of going to Sunday Mass. In fact, more often than not, Sunday Mass is a somewhat neutral experience for me. Sometimes the gathered people, the presiding priest, the music, the church decoration, the weather, my own sinful weakness, or whatever, can turn me off. But there are Sundays when, like Thomas, I suddenly know the Lord is with me. A prayer, a word of Scripture or the homily, a hymn, the presence of my brothers and sisters, the Eucharist, something puts me in the presence of the Lord or makes me notice him. I go to Mass for those times, and that is where the risk comes in. Meeting the Lord is a risky business. Legend has it that Thomas's meeting the Lord in that Sunday gathering resulted in eventual martyrdom in India. Others who were in that gathering did not fare better. Often when we meet the Lord in our private prayers, he's a comforter. But I think when we meet him in the Sunday gathering of disciples, he more often than not comes to commission us, as he did the disciples on those Sundays long ago when he sent them out to confront the sin of the world. For to forgive the sins of the world is to face the sin of the world with the same powerlessness that Jesus had on the cross. We're sent by him with this powerful weakness to meet the evil of the world with God's love. Considering that whenever I join my fellow Christians on Sunday, I'm putting myself at that kind of risk, going to church must be one of the bravest or most foolhardy things I can do. Who knows where it will lead? Living a Christian life takes courage. However, we need not search for it. We have it. Each Sunday, when we join the community of disciples, we take the greatest risk, that of meeting the Lord. If we can and do take that risk, the other risks of the Christian life should be easy by comparison. Responding to requests from viewers who want a print version of this video series, the Australasian Theological Forum, in cooperation with UCA News, has published In Season and Out Homilies for Year B. It's available from ATF or your bookseller.